everyone, welcome to Itsy Bitsy's live read of Sugar and Spice, Spicetopia, Book 1 by Phoebe Alexander. Chapter 1, Sigh. And that's why you're our first choice for going undercover in the park, my dad announced, pinning his dark gaze on me. What? No, I'm going to Greece next month to study sculpture with Christophilus, I protested in voice seemingly borrowed from my first grade self. Damn it, it sounded whiny. Greece? You just went to Tahiti 2 months ago, my older brother Carson piped up from across the table. He turned toward our parents. Cy hasn't done anything to support the business since we got out of college, which has been 2 years now. My middle brother Clem was quick to add his 2 cents. It's about time you start pulling your weight around here, Cy. Last time I checked, you were all due to inherit an equal share of Sweet Enterprises, so it's time for you to step up. My mother laid a soft hand on top of mine, forcing my eyes to snap to hers. You're right, Cy. It's time for you to step up. I know you're the youngest, and we've given you some time to find yourself, or whatever you want to call it, but if you want to be part of this family business, you have to do your fair share. A dramatic sigh huffed out of my mouth as I resigned myself to whatever this stupid plan was. But I wasn't done arguing my point just yet. I don't think studying art is a bad excuse, I offered. After all, maybe my newfound knowledge of sculpture could benefit the park in some way. My oldest brother rolled his eyes so hard it hurt to watch. Is there any chance I can wrap this up quickly and make it to Greece next month? My eyes started between my parents, begging for their blessing. Tell you what, my father said, leaning toward me with his hands clasped together, fingers entwined. You infiltrate the employee clique and identify the ringleader who is threatening to organize a strike, and you'll not only get to Greece on time, but we'll give you a $25,000 bonus. Sound good? Oh, it did sound good. Very good indeed. This is where I confess I've never had a manual labor type job, and I've never had to wear a uniform. My parents have owned a kiddie theme park in my entire life, and when I came of age, I got some sort of cushy summer job in the park, usually in security. My brothers and I would sit high up in the control center at the top of the cotton candy castle and monitor all the cameras surveying different areas of the park. A lot of the times that simply meant zooming in on all the MILFs with spectacular cleavage. Nice work, if you can get it, eh? This is why, as you might imagine, I was particularly mortified to look at myself in the mirror before heading into the park for my first day undercover. I stood there, trying to look as tough and businesslike as possible in my cheeky pink polo shirt with its white collar and the Sweetopia logo on the breast. Even worse, when I arrived for my orientation, I would be assigned a pink and white candy-striped apron to go over the entire disgusting ensemble. I looked like a Ken reject in the bargain Barbie bin at the local toy store. No one knew who I was, either. The bakery manager, who would be my boss, thought she was getting a seasonal employee. The only people who knew about my undercover boss assignment were the ones in the boardroom when the decision was made. My mother, father, and my 2 older brothers, Carson and Clem. I had to physically walk from the employee parking lot into the park. Walk! We had our own golf carts to carry us around the grounds, which, of course, I wasn't allowed to use. I rolled my eyes at the absurdity of it all as I made the truck from my beat-up Dodge truck. My parents wouldn't even let me drive my classic '69 Camaro, toward the huge fuchsia purple and teal arch that read Sweetopia in giant curly Q letters. I stopped at the gate with my hat pulled down low on my face. My parents insisted I disguise my identity, so I grew out my facial hair and found a pair of black plastic framed glasses. They didn't want anyone to have a single inkling that I could be Cyrus Sweet, the owner's youngest son, but now I look like a douchebag hipster. Hi, I'm Marcus Young, reporting for duty, I chirped in a British accent, giving the Sweetopia employee a mock salute. Where the fuck did that accent come from? I'm not British. Shit. Getting through this without my typical brand of sarcasm was going to be an Olympic feat. The employee, a skinny chap with huge gray-blue eyes, looked down at a clipboard. "Got ya," he said, barely looking up. "You're assigned to the Bard's Bakery in the—" "I know where it is," I retorted, trying not to sound like an asshole, but very much sounding like an asshole. A British one at that. The skinny dude gave me a shrug, and I was on my merry way to the cotton candy castle, the spires of which were gleaming silver in the morning sun. The bakery was just inside the front entrance of the castle, which was where the little girls and their families congregated to see the Red Velvet Queen. There was also a ride inside, one of those where you got on a boat and went through a tunnel with piped-in music and animalistic characters. This particular ride showed how the Red Velvet Queen and her friend, Donut Dragon, had defeated an evil sorceress to claim the throne of Sweetopia, girl power, and all that. I began to head straight to the bakery when I remembered that my oldest brother, who was in charge of casting for the park's costume characters, had hired a new Red Velvet Queen 6 months or so ago. The one that we had for years had frankly aged out of the role. Once the makeup could no longer conceal her wrinkles, she was asked to retire. Tough luck, right? Anyway, I had an insatiable curiosity about the new queen looked like because both Carson and Clem had agreed she was hot, and they had notorious different tastes. It was early, and I didn't know if the queen would be out of makeup and perched on her throne, but I figured it wouldn't hurt to steal a glance to see if my brother's stories could be corroborated. If she was a dog, I thoroughly planned to give them hell about it. My oldest brother was married, so I was sure his wife would love to hear Carson's thoughts on that matter. I tiptoed down the hallway, realizing if any of the other employees caught me back here, I would be in big trouble. I didn't want to make a bad impression on my first day, but curiosity killed a cat, and all that. I slowly pushed open the heavy doors that sealed off the Queen's throne room and scanned the long, elegantly appointed chamber, for my eyes landed right on the gold throne. There, regionally perched in the center of the plush crimson cushion, was the most beautiful, elegant, royal creature I had ever seen in my life. She had glossy black hair falling in big, scrumptious curls around her ivory shoulders, lush, creamy décolletage spilling out the top of her red velvet corset dress, and the most exquisite red lips I'd ever seen. Her nose, cheekbones, and graceful neck were sculpted by a master artist, and most enticing of all were the glittery gemstones looking at me from behind the thick, dark lashes. Her perfectly groomed eyebrow shot up as soon as she saw me. "Oh, sorry, wrong room," I called out in a blasted British accent and went flying back through the doors as though I'd seen a ghost. Okay, maybe not a ghost, but she definitely had to be a mystical creature of some sort. I've never been startled or even slightly taken back by a woman's beauty before. I guess there was a first time for everything, but I was simply in awe. Maybe it was just the costume, but I have never seen anything quite like her. Clem and Carson said she was hot, but they didn't say she was a goddess. Despite my lowly stature as a seasonal bakery cashier, I would have to find a way to make her acquaintance. The sooner the better. No, wait, I'm going back to talk to her now. If I learned one thing since becoming an adult and traveling around the world, it was, there's no time like the present. Jolie. I swear to God, the guy who just came in here had a British accent. Where the hell are they getting these employees? Apparently, hiring American doesn't mean anything to the Swedes. I finished up my internal rant, erased my lingering thoughts of that rude interruption, and tried to look regal as my colleagues fixed the red velvet curtains around my throne area and adjusted the lighting so it pierced straight into my retinas. I was usually half blinded by the end of the workday, and I couldn't even get vision insurance. You You all ready, Jolie? The throne room manager asked. She reached up to brush a stray hair out of my eye. Our guests will be here any minute. I nodded, affixing a royal smile to my face and warming up my wrist to do my queenly wave approximately 5 zillion times throughout the course of the day. The hundreds of little girls, and a few little boys, don't want to leave them out, who made my throne room their first stop of the day in Sweetopia was the real die-hard fans. They'd read all my books, seen all the cartoons. They probably owned a red velvet doll or two, and a lot of the girls showed up wearing their own red velvet queen dresses. It was an adorable sight, seeing them all lined up out the throne room door. They were always so excited to meet me, and I wanted to be everything they imagined I would be. The only reason they picked me to play this part is because I looked good in a corset and had a pretty face, and little kids weren't scared of me. But trust me, I'm no queen. I was all set to greet my subjects when I noticed the British guy pushing through the red velvet curtains again. What is this dude's problem? He gave me a sheepish smile, and I noticed he was cute in a quirky sort of way, with the beginnings of a beard and black plastic-rimmed glasses. He had that sort of hair that always looked a little tousled, long on top, and like he'd been running his fingers through it all morning. And he looked younger than me, maybe mid-20s. I couldn't deny that I sort of wanted to hear his accent again, but he appeared to be waiting for me to speak. Yes, I ventured, hoping that would help him relax. I was sure he was new around here and probably a bit disoriented. This place could be overwhelming at first. I remembered my orientation all too well. Upon hearing my affirmation, he approached me with his hand outstretched. Good morning. I just wanted to introduce myself. He kept walking and talking, but when he reached me, he just stood there awkwardly with his hand out. Boy, that accent sure does funny things to the area of the V of this corset points toward. I took his hand into mine to shake it because I didn't think he'd ever work up the courage to touch me. His eyes were certainly glued to mine, though. He had no shyness when it came to eye contact. They were so deep and brown, I was afraid of getting lost in them, so I quickly averted my gaze to his lips. Nope, that was a landmine too, as they were outlined in manly scruff and looked so damn kissable that I once again moved my focus to some place that would rather allow me to keep my cool. And the Sweetopia logo on the breast of his pink polo shirt. Ah yes, work. Nothing more effective at dousing any flames of desire I might be feeling than the thought of the fucking Sweets and their fucking lame-ass evil corporate empire. Well, are you going to tell me your name? I prompted him. He straightened up, immediately thought he was still gripping my hand tightly. Yes, ma'am. I'm Marcus Young. His grin never faltered. I'll be over at the Bard's Bakery if you should ever require my services. As though he had finally managed to gather his wits about him, he raised my hand to his lips and pressed those beautiful plump babies against my skin, making my insides turn to goo. It's a pleasure to meet you, Marcus, and boy, did I mean that. It would be nice to have a polite, handsome gentleman over at the bakery. I couldn't go there during work hours, of course. What queen visited a bakery when there were servants to deliver anything she could possibly desire? But I did stop in there before and after work pretty often. Even queens had to have their coffee fix. Oh, where are my manners? I'm the Red Velvet Queen, I told him in my royal voice, trying to stay in character. It was only seconds before the ropes dropped and my fangirls and boys came squealing into the throne room. I assure you, Your Highness, the pleasure is all mine. Thank you for listening to this portion.